I would love to. And someday I'm going to pack the bike up and travel south and ride all winter long.
Yeah,
Going south until it gets
we'll serve up some shrimp and grits for you.
perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
And you can stop in North Carolina on your way, and we'll give you some good barbecue.
Right on.
Oh, wait a minute. No, not with that vinegar-based stuff. Is that what you're talking about, Chris?
Hey, we're gonna have this Carolina feud of the barbecue, but I can tell you that I like the North Carolina barbecue better than I like the South Carolina barbecue. So
What is wrong with you?
yeah, I'm a little demented. What can I say?
If somebody's going to put on barbecue for me, I don't care whether it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, California.
Kansas.
Eat it all.
But
Eat it all.
you gotta understand, barbecue in the Carolinas is what's feuded over.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
What's
yeah.
the difference?
Mustard base.
Mustard base, yeah.
Mustard base, vinegar base, then you got the tomato
my two
base in
favorites.
Western Carolina.
Yeah,
And what's
don't like the honey
difference
base.
between North and South Carolina?
it's the sauces.
Oh,
Oh
Are
man,
you kidding me?
You're talking battleground now.
You're not from
oh,
Washington. Come on.
No, it's the
Oh.
sauces. It's the sauces they use. You know, the
yeah.
meat's all
You know,
prepared in the same way. It's the sauces.
Sweet
they use.
versus savory.
If you're out of the Carolinas, you just don't get it. And I didn't get it until I moved here in 2006.
Well, I'm happy you found out.
I got here as quick as I could.
And
Yeah,
Bruce,
that's
California
a good-
doesn't have barbecue. They have like KFC barbecue, which is
Oh, no.
They have craft barbecue sauces put on meat.
Oh,
tofu.
I don't use barbecue sauce, so I don't know. I like to season meat and barbecue it.
Yep.
And
you
do
have
it.
to taste the smokiness.
Yeah. I don't like sauces. It's not my cup of tea.
I'm telling you, until you've had barbecue in the Carolinas, you've not had barbecue.
Okay. Or do they have a savory one, or is it all sweet?
It's,
oh, no.
It depends on what part of the Carolinas you're in.
Yeah.
You can have that crappy mustard stuff.
He's got
Schedule
you.
a trip and we'll all try it out. How's that?
Yeah,
Come
there
on
you go.
down.
The mustard base, the ketchup base, the vinegar base, you name it, we got it.
Yeah,
We're
that's
an
it.
equal opportunity pig enthusiasts.
You know, Kansas City claims they're the barbecue capital of the world, and not so much.
Yeah.
We have a restaurant around the corner from here. It's called La Esquina de Lechon, which means the corner of the pig.
Ooh.
And they do lechon, which is barbecued pig,
yeah.
whole pig.
Yeah.
The big China box, the pig box.
Yeah.
So they do that. You gonna say goodnight? Huh?
Yes.
Good night, buddy. I love you. See?
Good night.
Say good night.
Good night.
I'll see you in the morning, buddy.
Okay.
All right. And this place, for about $6, you get about a 2-pound piece of this roasted, delicious pork, and it's absolutely out of this world. The Cubans know how to roast a piece of pig, man. They
Yes, sir.
really do. And they call it lechon, and they do it in that it's a Chinese box. They call it cajachina, and they sell them down here. And oh man,
Sounds
outstanding.
good.
So I recently did a pig in one of those Chinese boxes, and it's absolutely amazing. You're right.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I'm not leaving Miami without one. Well, tonight we are going to have a business meeting or a sort of a round robin. And I noticed that Glenda's not here. And Harold, I know that you're familiar with this stuff going on, but people are complaining that they are not happy with the way that our meeting. And I understand that everybody's going to have a complaint one way or the other. Like, some people weren't happy last week. I thought it was a great presentation. A lot of people thought it was a great presentation. We're not going to please everybody. And you know, the other side of that is I got to own part of this. I have not been around very much. And so I'd like to hear what people have to say about, you know, what they'd like to see happen in the club, and let's see if we can affect some changes that will you know, make this a little bit better. Our speakers in general are pretty. We've had a little bit of an out of control situation last month, but that's getting better. And we're coming into December, which is traditionally people just don't go to meetings. It's really it's a time in clubs that's really hard for attendance. So I'm going to just open it up and let's just have a talk about, you know, what we think's going on. Judy Wyndham is you know, you Rory. I don't know whether she's unhappy with the club or whether she's looking for a brick and mortar situation, but you know, I really need to hear what's going on with everybody. So,
What kind of complaints are you getting? I've been quite satisfied with this.
well, I've heard that people, the biggest complaint is people don't like the happy hour meeting. That's yeah, I know. I like the happy hour meeting too, but a lot of people don't like it. Some people are complaining that they're bored during meetings, that the meetings aren't, you know, exciting enough. Some people are complaining that they don't like the motorcycle themes of everything, and I've got to say, we're a motorcycling Rotary Club, so these are hard questions for us to address. So that's why, you know, because like I said, I haven't been around a lot, and I've got to own that. So I want to know, you know, what people think, and just I've been asking for material to put in the newsletter. I haven't gotten anything. People are just, you know, basically ignoring me and not sending anything in. So it's really hard for me to put up content. I intentionally, we got an email last week about district governors, you know, for 6380. And
Crap.
and Glenda sent me a letter saying, you know, did you see this? But I didn't think it was worthy to put in the newsletter because we don't have that many people in 6380. We're spread out all over the place. Yeah.
Brian, I have a question for you. Do you actually receive emails that we send to you? Because I've sent you several emails in response to the newsletters, and I've asked you pointed questions and not gotten answers. So I don't know if you're not getting the emails or you're just ignoring me.
No, I never would ignore you, Chris. If I'm not, I've never seen an email from you.
So you might check your junk. You might check your junk box because maybe
No,
they're
I
in your
check,
junk box.
I check my junk box every day. I'm really careful about that. And so intentionally, you know, I look at the replies that come, and I do get some replies that come back from the newsletter. And are you hitting like reply and going to just reply, or are you?
I've done both a reply and a forward to your email address.
Okay. Well, that's something that, has anybody else tried to get a hold of me and not been able to? No? Okay.
Maybe Chris is using the wrong email. Are you using the one at Digilect?
Well, that one works.
That's the one I've been using.
Whatever the one is that's in Club Runner, I couldn't tell you what it is.
You know, I got to tell you, sometimes the Club Runner emails get malformed. I have in my address book, I have an email address for Jerry. That's one of the Club Runner email addresses. And for some reason, it loops back on itself and turns into a big disaster. I always have to, for some reason, I have to manually type Jerry's in, but I don't know if that's the case. But I'm gonna search because I have Outlook, so I can certainly look and. Chris Jones at Rotary Gmail.
Chris.jones.rotary.
Yeah. So I got the one that you were traveling, and I didn't respond to you about because you were just telling us you wouldn't be there. There wasn't a question there. That was, I'm not going to be there. Let's see. I see a bunch of emails from you, Chris, but I don't see any that have any questions.
Okay.
So it may be that I'm just missing them, but I just looked through the past, all the way back to March, and we were talking about, and this was a back and forth that it was about the logo, so we all talked about that. So that was, yeah. I don't see any questions, Guy, but seriously, I would never, if I don't get back to you, it's because I didn't see an email, Chris, not because I'm ignoring you.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm really good about getting my emails. I'm relying on them anyway because I'm relying on my attendings to email me. I'm relying on people to email me invites for interviews, and I'm real careful about my emails.
So what about programs? I mean, I'm always talking to people about programs, but you guys want to see stuff different than motorcycles?
What do these people suggest? I mean, we're a motorcycling club.
No, I've got, I've been, when I went to Overland Expo in October, there was a whole motorcycle section. Liz Jansen was in there, but I just talked to everybody and I got 2 speakers out of that.
Good. Awesome.
So it's just, I just go out and when I talk to people, I'm talking to another guy right now.
Good.
Well, if you guys have ideas for programs, let me know. John, you emailed me. I haven't talked to Susanna Ray yet, but I will.
Yeah, I'll make a comment about this idea of maybe some people think that we're too heavily oriented towards motorcycles.
What's that?
I don't know.
It's David.
Okay. Anyway, this came up maybe a couple of months ago, and I kind of thought perhaps we may be going in that direction, and I cautioned against that because it is a motorcycle-oriented group, and
right.
For anyone who feels offended, intimidated, or just uncomfortable with that, then that begs the question in my mind why they would want to associate with a group.
Right.
Look at the title, look at our name. I was really bewildered then as much as I am now. I've got a simple resolution to that. It is the group that it is. We welcome people, but I wouldn't really welcome people who want to change the dynamics
right.
of what we're all about. No, not what we're all about, but in part our interests in motorcycles, because I think that's a foundation that shouldn't be changed. It's just
Absolutely.
my sense.
Absolutely.
And
No, I feel the same way.
I know it was Terry
I
that did
agree.
that. Terry probably brought that up.
Well, Terry's a troublemaker.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. Hey, listen,
But to
We're-
me, this
we're
is
like
the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians. And I mean, why wouldn't we want to have topics dealing with motorcycles, motorcycle travel? You know, that's what we're all about. So I just don't understand why somebody would say, "Oh, we don't want to do that."
Right. What were you going to say, Terry?
You know, we have had other presentations. Every presentation has not been about motorcycling or motorcycle parts or whatever. But yes, we're a motorcycling group, so that's going to be the focus. But we've had plenty of other presentations involving all kinds of things. Last week's example, I wasn't attending the meeting, but I watched it. It was a fantastic show. I mean, it was great.
I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I loved it because it was about us, the members.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, when we talk about the fact that we want to have other members, you know, who maybe have other topics because they're former Rotarians or different focuses in Rotary, you know, we can have those people in there too. Sure. You know, we just had a great TED Talk conversation about vaccinations and unvaccinating, the vaccine versus unvaccinating children. You know, and it was a great presentation. It was all online. You know, our Rotary, and that's something. TED Talks. I mean, there's all kinds of topics out there that could be shown and presented when we don't have a speaker. But you can't please everybody. As far as the happy hour thing goes, I mean, you know, I feel a little embarrassed sitting here having dinner during the meeting, and that's kind of why I go off screen a little bit. But it's 7 o'clock my time, folks. You know, I'm going to have dinner. I'm going to have a cocktail, and you know, every meeting's a happy hour to me, and that's what I love about this club.
Yeah, yeah. So I received an email with some feedback that Glenda collected, and so I'll just read it really quick. The first one was meetings / discussions seem to be about the same things and losing interest in attending. May terminate membership, not seeing any value. Don't care for happy hour meetings with no agenda, same people always controlling the conversation. Lack of second number 2, lack of communication on upcoming meeting topics, which I feel like we're putting on the webpage. And it's also shows up on the newsletter. So I feel like maybe they just don't know where to look. Does anybody else feel like they like don't understand the anatomy of the newsletter? Is it like there should be members' birthdays on there, and there should be, you know, just some general information about what's coming up.
Yeah.
And then the rides, I mean, you know, whatever we've got in terms of rides. But like I said, I'm open to changes in content of the newsletter, because I feel like we're an online club and communication is the way that we survive. And so, but I need content to put in it. So I'm open to all suggestions there.
Maybe we need to have a meeting on barbecue.
Maybe we need to have a barbecue meeting. And how to eat barbecue while riding a motorcycle.
Very carefully.
Very carefully. And then would like to see, now here's an opposite one. Would like to see more guest speakers, motorcycling topics, speakers talking about equipment such as Bluetooth, helmet speakers, maintenance, etc., as well as Rotary focused topics, which I think is great. I think that discussion, you know, Scott's really good at that, and we could certainly groom that. Absolutely. In fact, the company that he and I both use for our Bluetooth, they're a relatively small company, and I'll bet they'd love to come and talk to us. I'll send them an email this week and see if we can get them to come and talk to us.
Which set?
I love that. Oh, sorry, Rory.
I'm just curious as to what company.
So, this is the company that we were talking about last week that has the Bluetooth. And now I'm drawing a blank. I'll tell you in just a minute.
Dina?
Cena?
Sena, yeah, Sena, thank you.
Cena,
That's it. Sena.
S-E-N-A.
Because
That's
I haven't.
what I have. I would love to have a presentation because I'm totally confused. I swear that stuff is not made for people with gray hair.
Well, I couldn't even remember the name, so don't feel bad. I haven't had my helmet on in 6 months, so
Shame, shame, shame.
I know it's terrible, and I'm just afraid to ride down here.
Do we want to try to do more outside presentations? Because I mean, I can work on that. Everybody can work on that.
Yeah,
So,
everybody. I mean, look, I thought the best presentation I ever saw in Rotary, hands down, was the Freedom Ride presentation from the guy that was riding for depression.
oh, Dieter, yeah, and he just went
Dieter.
home. His dad's not doing well, so he flew home from Medellin. I think this weekend, into last week, this weekend.
And he, like, you know, is sort of active on his Facebook page, and we stay in touch, and our Facebook page is really active as well. I mean, it's nice to see people, you know, going out there and looking and posting, and so I'm really happy about all of that, and frankly, I'm not bored. You know, I mean, it's all I don't.
I don't think we have to limit our topics to motorcycling.
No.
Absolutely
Not at all surprised that it's the predominance. Yeah, I would look. I'm with Keith. I want one of those Cena presentations. It took Jerry and me about an hour to figure out how to talk to each other when we were riding.
That's because you got the wrong company. I use Uclear. It's a boomless mic, and it works perfectly.
Well,
Too
I
late.
don't even have hair. Okay,
Too late.
Well, this sounds like an opportunity to have two topics, right? We'll,
yeah, there you go.
you email your company, I'll email mine. We'll see if we can't get them both to talk to us, right? Because I'm not familiar with the company.
And don't forget Cardo.
That's right, Cardo.
Cardo.
They're all pretty much the Bluetooth aspect of it. They're very similar. You know, there may be slight differences about button actuations of different features, but they're all basically the same.
Right.
Do they talk to each other, Harold?
Some of them do now. Yeah, once upon a time they didn't, but now they do. I know Cena does, Uclear, and I think Cardo does as well.
Yeah. The cool thing about the Sena is that it has integration with the little walkie-talkies on the digital frequency, the DSS frequency. So it'll go a couple miles, and that's really nice.
Yeah, when you're going by bike.
Exactly. So you don't necessarily have to be riding right next to each other, Bluetooth connected to communicate.
And it's great because if your wife is riding with you, you can even cut it off.
Yeah.
So you don't.
You're old.
Oh, did I say that? Actually, she still gets my attention by slapping the back of my helmet. So
That works.
Yeah.
what can I say?
I make it a rule not to ride two up. We did for a while, but I don't like it. I don't want to be responsible for it. I'm not, I don't think it's a good idea.
No. So should we when we talk about a survey, do a survey to the members? Do we want to come up with some questions?
You know, I would say a survey would be good to get input, but with limitations.
Yeah.
You know, because one of the things that I think I keep hearing echoed is it's the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians. I don't think we ought to get away from our pedigree.
No.
You know, it's just my feeling about that.
Let me mention, I'm a past district governor, as several of us are online here. I think the thing that attracts most people to a Rotary Club is predictability. And most Rotary clubs that I've ever seen start off with some kind of agenda, such as the welcome, perhaps a invocation, perhaps pledge allegiance of the flag, some routine that is followed, such as people who have happy buck or a sad buck that they share. They get into other kind of businesses, perhaps some committee reports, then going ahead with a program that is publicized ahead of time. I think that the nice thing about a Rotary Club such as this is that there are so many different subjects in Rotary that can be brought to our attention, including motorcycling, which is bringing most of us here, no doubt about it. And then ending up with what we generally do anyway with the four-way test. But I think that if we have some kind of predictability in terms of what the meeting is going to be, that will make sure that all of us are kind of paying attention to what is going on. We've been pretty much free-floating in terms of our meetings and how they start and how they end. Not so much with how they end, admittedly, but I think we need to come up with some kind of format that allows us to be pretty much predictive of what we're going to experience when we come in. And I do think that what brings most of us to the fore on this is having some kind of subject that's going to enhance our own understanding of something, particularly Rotary, and then even more particularly motorcycling. So if we could think along those lines, given my experiences having visited literally hundreds of Rotary clubs over time and being the president of 2 and a member of now 4, I think that would perhaps help us plan ahead. That's my 2 cents.
Sounds good.
I really like that, David, and I gave that a lot of thought when I became president, thinking about how am I going to do a bell? How is that going to work? How, what conventions can we put in place that will sort of, and frankly, I'm open to ideas because I really, people seem to be happy with it. I come from St. Martin where we were a singing club. That's not going to work here, clearly, but I miss it. There's things about that I miss. So we sang.
You sing?
Yeah, I sang. Quietly.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, quietly. Okay.
Quietly.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I wouldn't want to get too formatted. We are by nature a casual group, just by the format of how we meet.
Yeah.
I could see, like an agenda that follows a certain pattern. I like ending with the 4-way test.
Absolutely.
Dave, I've been to a lot of clubs myself. They all have similar elements, not necessarily in the same order. I guess that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like David's idea, having some, I guess the very nature of many of us is that we're organized, structured individuals, or we once upon a time were. So we can identify with some structure, and the absence of that structure sometimes may make people uncomfortable, I guess, if you would.
And that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what David says, I think, holds a lot of credence or credibility.
Well, we could apply a little bit more structure with it, with nothing more than having an official bell that's shipped from president to president year after year after year. And,
Sure.
all clubs have that bell. They all use it in the beginning. They all use it in the end. Or most clubs, my wife just said, I don't know that for a fact, but most clubs, I think, use it.
You better listen to Jamie.
Well, she's been in Rotary longer than I have, so I got to give her a little bit of credit.
You really allow your spouses to listen in?
I don't think he has any choice.
Let's not go there.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
I'm a fan of Jamie. Let's not go there.
Oh, yeah. Jamie's a fireball, or should I say a ball of fire? Oh, hi, Jamie.
Love all of you.
What a sweetie.
Harmony in the Rotary world.
That's right.
How's your hand?
Yeah, it's attached, and that's about all. But thank you for asking.
Okay.
She does a lot of good work with that Whiskey Dram Fellowship. So does Terry. They really spearhead that, and she's welcome anytime, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I should have just got your latest newsletter. I think it went out this morning.
Yep, I saw it. Yeah.
As did I.
So,
Well, you
okay.
know,
Well, we, Linda tried to put in a safety moment, and I tried to do a couple of times to bring that forward, and I think that's a great thing to use for the motorcycle side, and then maybe we need a Rotary corner, a Rotary corner moment, and I can work on that. I mean, we can definitely have a little bit of that going on. I'm gonna have a little bit. Well, I'm gonna have a lot more time because graduation is coming up soon.
yay.
And my last rotation ends at the end of November. And so if God's willing and the creek don't rise, my score will come back from the practicals, and I will be finished. So then I won't have anything to do until June. So
And we're going to have to call you doctor.
only when we're together quietly.
Now, going back to your Rotary corner, are you talking about a Rotary moment or a Rotary motorcycling moment?
No, a Rotary moment, just a educational thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little piece. I mean, you all know, you've all been presidents, right? It's not like we are at a lack of information that Rotary sends us about what's going on in our email boxes. I mean, as a president, I have a lot of Rotary information coming in all the time, and I try to read as much of it as I can. So it's not like it would be, a burden to take a minute and just say, hey, this is what's going on. Now, I do get a lot of 6380 stuff that is not necessarily relevant. But Rotary sends out at least biweekly sends out information about foundation and all kinds of stuff going on all the time. So,
if you all go to rotary.org/newsletters, you can sign up for, I think it's 17 different newsletters that you'll get regular Rotary information from.
Oh my gosh.
What's that called again, Chris?
So rotary.org/newsletters, plural. And there are, I believe it's 17 or 18 different, they may have reduced it a little bit, but there's a lot of newsletters that you can sign up for to get regular Rotary content that, quite honestly, in my opinion, we don't need to regurgitate in our meetings.
Well, where is it? I don't care.
no, I mean, we could talk about just foundational stuff for for a minute or two. Just to kind of refresh ourselves,
That'll take years. That's changed so much just this last year.
Yeah. I read a bunch of foundational stuff because I knew that the interviewers were going to ask me 100 questions about Rotary. Nobody knows anything about Rotary unless they're Rotarians. They're not going to know, I mean, I wear a Paul Harris Fellow pin on my suit.
And we have an obligation to be educated on our own organization.
Absolutely.
I think we have enough experienced Rotarians in this group that you could call on any one of us and say, give me a 2-minute topic on Rotary. I'm going to call on you in 5 minutes, and it would take just any of us just a couple of minutes to think, okay, what do I want to talk about? And you could fill the 2-minute gap very easily.
Unless they're a PDG, and then they get 10 minutes.
To say less.
PDGs can't talk for less than 10, can they?
I can.
Say hello, Winston Chambers.
You know, the other thing I would like to see too is, just because memory's not what it used to be, 2 or 3 minutes where we have a Rotarian of the week and just a little bit about ourselves, saying what we do and what we did, and just to refresh everybody's memory.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's kind of exactly what I was referring to, was just sort of foundational things that we can just kind of remind ourselves about, what's going on. Somebody, and I remember this sentiment well. I was talking to somebody I met a Rotarian on the plane, and I had my Rotary pin on, and we started talking about Rotary. And he, was one of these guys that he's rolling his eyes back in his head, polio, I'm so tired of hearing about it, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of said, I felt that way before, myself certainly, but it seems to me like from a foundational perspective, people forget how important it is, And so some of us don't, but most of us, maybe need a little reminder. And I said, maybe you're just one of those guys that you think about it and you're thoughtful, so it's important to you. But a lot of people need to be reminded that we have a mission and we're not going to stop until it's done. And he thought about that and he went, that's really a good point. And I think there's some prevailing sentiment about polio there, and so I'm proud of it, and so I think that we should remind each other that we have a mission. But it happens, people get a little they get polio overloaded.
So
yeah.
there.
So there. Yeah.
I hope everybody's paying attention to the chat that's going on the side of this conversation as well.
It's really good. I wish that
I think that's why it got so quiet.
I wish that this would automatically just send me a. Yeah, I've got to remember to save it.
Well, I wish we had the chat as part of the video for those that missed the meeting. So,
yeah,
true.
I can save the chat if you want.
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
can
just
post it.
Right now I have it just set up for the video, but I can set it up to save the chat, and then I can send it with the email when I do that.
Awesome.
That would be awesome, Linda.
Okay, I'll reset that up. That'll start next week then.
Linda, what happens if you're recording it and you see in the lower right-hand corner of the chat, the 3 dots, it says tag it to the window or lock it to the window.
Huh?
And I didn't know I could do that. I just did it. And it's permanently on my screen now. Will that be recorded?
No.
No, everybody's gonna have to do it individually, but I can set it up to save that chat file and then just send it out as a text file.
Yeah, it won't save the private chat, but it'll save the public chat.
Yep.
And it won't put the chat up in the order in which it came up during the video. So it'll be a little bit contextually whatever the word is.
It'll be fun.
Just incongruous, yeah.
Sorry, I'm drinking a scotch. I can't think.
Oh, is that what happens to us?
I'm going for the bourbon.
Linda, you can edit that out too.
Bourbon and eggnog.
No, I'm gonna leave that in.
Harold reminded us about bourbon milkshakes here not too long ago, and
yeah.
My wife's been hitting the bourbon milkshakes pretty
Awesome.
Regularly.
You ever had a White Lightning milkshake?
No.
It's like the best thing ever.
Oh,
sounds like some moonshine to me.
Oh, that was the nasty. You couldn't even hold it up to your mouth. It was so strong. It was just like, bleh.
I will tell you that about a week ago, one of my retired buddies passed away, went in for heart surgery, which was successful, but then he contracted an infection days later and passed away. He's only 2 years older than me. So it was right around the time one of our other retired members has an annual party for his anniversary and he and his wife's birthday. So I was asked to fill the cups with moonshine, White Lightning. And I thought I would be judicious and pour just a little amount for all of the other retired officers. So since I was their supervisor, their lieutenant, I felt compelled to fill my cup up instead of just drizzle it in there. And I had ridden there on my motorcycle. Well, I drank all of it. And about 20 minutes later, I thought, gee, I'm only going to stay a short while. I better gear up to leave. And I stumbled once. I did not get on the bike. I got some, what we call Buford stew or Frogmore stew. It's corn and sausage and lots of shrimp and potatoes all blended in together. It's awesome. So
the Low Country boil.
Yeah, Low Country boil. Absolutely. So I sat there for the next 2.5 hours and allowed that food to absorb the alcohol, after which time I was fine and I could suit up okay. And I got on the bike and made my way home for my short 3-mile trip. So I have a sobering respect for White Lightning, okay? It has a special place in my heart.
How many of your fellow officers followed you home?
No, because they knew I was okay. And probably they would laugh anyway. I'd drop the bike and run.
I have a 5-year-old blueberry hooch in my refrigerator still that my neighbor made.
Hey, I've got some apple pie moonshine in my refrigerator. Bam.
I think we drank like a quarter of it. A pint. We only took a quarter of it out. The rest is sitting in the refrigerator.
Look, I hope I'm not offending anyone by talking about booze.
See, we're not. This is a big digression, guys. You know, we're supposed to be talking about motorcycles.
Well, he included motorcycles.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Right.
So,
he got snorkeled and then went on a ride on his motorcycle.
all roads lead back to the motorcycle.
Just remember, we are recording this. It's forever embedded in history.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Too late now.
I got a ride. I can't walk, for God's sakes. What am I going to do?
Call an Uber.
Rory, have you got any input for us? I'd really like to hear from you because you've been there quiet.
Look.
There's so much great commercial moonshine out there now. It's
yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
And it's clean. It's regulated. It's not made through a radiator.
One of the first places in South Carolina that sold it, or they now sell it legally, is in Anderson, South Carolina. You go into the business and it has these great big, huge copper stills that's inside, and these really cool tiny mason jars for taste testing. Oh, taste testing is so much fun.
So what do you think, Rory? Tell us what your thoughts are on the topic of club regeneration.
Well, I'm agreeing with David. Some kind of agenda that we kind of follow week by week. That that was always the structure. I can remember sitting down for several of our incoming presidents and doing an agenda for them every meeting, because they weren't quite sure what they needed to talk about. So I'd sit down and write out their agenda for them. But yeah, the Rotary Minute, some safety stuff, motorcycle equipment, rides, just an agenda. But we are a motorcycle group, so.
Yes.
I think having a quick Rotary business meeting at every meeting is important, a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Sounds
So-
like a plan.
Oh, do you want me to try to find other programs maybe for the third Wednesday of the month? Or do you want to keep doing that because we're going to run out of member me's eventually, but we can still mix those in.
Yeah. You
Well,
know,
I guess part of my question is also, I mean, you're getting complaints. Are those, how many of those are coming in from people who are just watching it after the fact versus being on the meeting?
True.
there's no way to tell, right?
And that's the issue, because I mean, we're normally looking at 16 to maybe 22 people on the meeting. But we've got a membership that's close to 40?
Now we're over
And-
50.
Okay,
And
so
are these-
I mean, you've got double that people that are, okay, if they're throwing in input, but they're not on the meeting. And it's like, okay, fine, but if you got something to say, come in and say it.
And are these quantitative issues or one-offs?
Right. Right. Well, and because of the source, it's very difficult to say, I think Glenda has some strong feelings, particularly about the happy hour meeting. I happen to really like the happy hour meeting. Seems to me like if we put that up to a vote, I don't think that the happy hour meeting would go away.
Good.
So we get one day where we don't have a lot of format, and the rest of the time, we
have-
format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the only problem with the Zoom meeting thing is like if you're sitting in a room with a bunch of people at tables, you can kind of move around and talk different conversations. Where here it's kind of one at a time.
Right.
So if somebody starts manipulating the time, then all of a sudden you're done.
Yeah. And, David brought it up too. Is it an issue with the meeting or the drinking? And that's a really good question. Maybe somebody's just not comfortable because we are cavalier about the booze. And so.
Well, how are we cavalier? We're all in our own private space. I don't think anybody's going anywhere. It's a individual choice whether to drink
Absolutely.
an alcoholic beverage.
Right. But we yuck it up. We yuck it up about drinking, and that could come off as cavalier. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I have my water and cranberry juice right now.
I have kefir tonight.
What is that, Terry?
It's moonshine.
Yeah.
You got me thinking about it. I go, I know I got an open jar in the refrigerator. I'm going to have me a little sip right now. Get off the line for a minute.
I don't know. I haven't ever seen us get really out of line on drinking. Harold, you're our moral suasion here. What do you think?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. No one's ever gotten out of line. It's not even a focal point, even when it is a happy hour. The happy hour in and of itself, the focal point has never been, what are you drinking? And I'm drinking this, and let's do this and let's do that. That's never been an issue. So I don't know. We're all consenting adults, responsible people, or else we wouldn't be here as Rotarians. Well, except you, John. Okay. I guess you called yourself out.
Yep. We don't have chug contest. We don't play pong. We don't have drinking contest.
No.
This is what I'm drinking tonight. That's my memory.
Not when you're on the meetings, John, anyway.
And I'm sure, I may be speaking out of turn, but I don't think there's one single individual here who would ever support when we have our meeting and we're talking about alcohol that suggests that somebody end the meeting and then go out for a ride.
Right.
No,
I don't think that's ever even been yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. And, because we're all home or at our businesses, we're somewhere, we're not on the street, we're not going out on the street. And No one's chugging anything. You know, it's very loose, mild, and sort of like tongue in cheek. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Unless there's a painful memory there in somebody's past.
Could be.
Right. And honestly, you know, maybe I don't know. And I'd like to, I wish Glenda was here because I know that she's not a fan of that. And not to single her out because there's
No.
other people that are not fans of it, you know.
Maybe if you can find out why, if there's a trigger point there,
Right.
that would help us understand it.
Right.
We can call it something else. It doesn't have to be called happy hour. I mean, we can
Well, maybe we can put some fun structure in it too. Maybe we can do something fun.
so we can be happy.
Exactly. Maybe we can have, maybe somebody could be
A clown,
like a,
like Linda.
well, no, I was thinking maybe we can have, somebody to find happy bucks.
Sure, there you go.
And you know, that would be something that we could do. And
Maybe we could have a drinking sergeant at arms.
exactly. Now I know, yeah.
Terry volunteers.
I know that when I was a sergeant at arms, I was a drinking sergeant at arms. So, you know.
Man, you guys.
Jamie just reminded me that, you know, we really shouldn't put too much weight on the value of one, the voice of one against the many.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
As I
true.
say, I've been to clubs where you drank before, you got a drink, sat down for the meeting. Our club met at it was a community center. There wasn't any booze, so we didn't do anything there. So, I mean, it's up to the club, really.
Right.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to make some changes. I'll think about it this week, and I'll start to make some changes structurally to the meetings. And I'll send out some emails and try and get some. We're going to have to get some volunteers to do the safety minute, and I'll start off with the Rotary Minute talk, and then we can just rotate that around and. You know, I mean, it's involvement, right? There's nothing wrong with the structure. I think it's good. So let's do that and see if it works out for us. You know, all we can do is try.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Glenda's not here today because her son had surgery again.
Oh no.
Taking care of him.
No.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, it isn't a situation to single anybody out. I just want more information, you know. I just want more information about what it is that we're doing to make it work for everybody. So
Sure. Absolutely.
And it's not going to work for everybody no matter what I do. I mean, that's just we're human. That's just the way it goes. But let's do the best we can, right? So
It's worth the
Okay. As writers, and I know we've got Motorcycle Safety Foundation people on board here.
Yep.
There's been situations where we've been in and learned something from it. To volunteer, 5 minutes to talk about it and what you learned out of it.
Yep.
absolutely.
That's
Don't
safe.
ride on
Some of the
ice.
people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the
All
time.
the time.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I would say that safety moment could be motorcycling or, something that you could fall on your house and that could create something bad. I think I talked about that on one, but kind of mix it up. Because we need safety everywhere.
Don't ride on ice.
It's true.
Been there,
I mean,
done that.
White
Or
lightning.
snow.
I found out the hard way.
Harold's got a video of that. Harold's got a video of that. Did I mention Harold's got a video of that?
Hey, Harold, do you have a video of
Good
that?
night. Good night, Terry. I think I hear Jamie calling you. That's what friends will do for you. They throw you under the bus. We haven't heard from Juan. Juan, you've been very quiet.
He's been in the chat.
Right here, totally agree with keeping our biking club, Rotary Biking Club, as a biking club. Don't have too much to add. I'm
Good.
because I ride a bike and I'm a Rotarian.
Awesome.
I think that's quite simple.
Yep. Very well put.
Thanks, Earl.
Yeah.
I just find it funny. It's all the same faces on my screen as there was 2 years ago. There's some have come and gone, but
Sure.
the 16 people up here are mostly the same 16 people who were here 2 years ago when this club started.
Sure.
And that's an excellent point. We have how many people, Linda? 50 or so?
Unmute yourself, dear.
You're mute. Here, I'll
Oh.
unmute you. There you go.
We have
Bruce, that just means we're all committable.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
In a good way or a bad way?
Yes.
it would be nice to get some of the other members in here. I enjoy this company, but it's like you say, it's the same people every week.
Well, and I mean, I've been sending these emails to Brian, but there's a couple of guys in India that want to become associate members, and they're talking to other people. So we've been talking about doing a second meeting that meets their time zone.
Wow.
And there's 10 and a half hours difference.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting to hear back from those guys. It takes a while. They're not
Yeah.
quick.
Wow.
Rory, hang on.
A thoughtful and well-calibrated
Say that again, Rory.
I say so. We'll have a sunrise and a sunset club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it.
No, I don't either. But, me not seeing a problem with it doesn't serve everyone in the club. And so,
Quite honestly, I see a lot of clubs moving to a satellite format of the existing club that are alternate time formats so that other people can join that otherwise would not be able to. So for us to start a satellite club of alternate meeting times wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not muted. It's up in District 5050. They've got a passport club. Have you heard of those yet?
Yeah.
So Sean Hogan started that, and they literally only meet once a month, but they're encouraged to go to Rotary Club meetings close to where they're at. So they're from all over the district. And there's actually been spouses that have joined Rotary because of that.
Yeah, there's a number of passport clubs throughout the world, and a number of the clubs have they do different things with their bylaws, but one in our zone has it set up so that you attend one passport club meeting a quarter, but the rest of the time you're in regular clubs in your area and participating in service projects. So there's all kinds of different formats coming. I can tell you Rotary International is looking at different membership formats organizationally that will be announced in the coming, well, I'll just say the coming year.
Cool.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trade this for anything. This has been the way. This is my club.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been since I was in St. Martin. This is my club. I wouldn't trade this for anything. But I do understand that, if we have people in India, we're going to have to work out ways to liaise between some of us are going to have to attend those meetings, and we're going to have to work out ways to keep communication lines open, and so that's going to be all another layer.
And I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to say one thing, especially to everyone who's here. The comment was made that we tend to see the same faces. Well, that's good. And I applaud all of you for making the commitment to always being here, because a lot of people say a lot of things, but I come from a profession where you look and see what people do, not just what they say they're going to do. So just by virtue of the fact You've made the commitment. You continue to make the commitment. You know, the earth is spinning around on its axis. So things are always changing, evolving. Just because somebody is unhappy or a few people may be unhappy, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because through those dialogues, we can bring together a more homogeneous group. And I think it's beneficial, and it will be beneficial to all of us. So that's my 2 cents for tonight.
No, I like it. All right. Do I have anybody that's willing to give us the 4-way test?
But of course.
Before you do, I just want to draw attention to the announcement I made. If you want to go to India in January for National Immunization Day, send me an email and I'll send you the details. You can plan on spending about $5,000 out of pocket to do it.
Ouch.
And this may be one of the very last trips.
Yeah, India's going from the 2 drops to injections.
Oh.
It is a transformational experience.
Yeah. Having been there myself, I would agree with that. It's transformational.
The places that will go on this trip will be Delhi, Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is, Kolkata. Typically, they go to the Mother Teresa's mission of Sisters of Mercy, and then they go to a town called Dhanbad, which is it's about a 3-hour bus ride to the west of Kolkata, and we have a lot of friends there. And you stay with Rotarians there, and they are such lovely people.
And it's a town, and I want to emphasize the word town, of 7 million people.
Yeah.
Town.
Dhanbad?
Town.
Yeah, Dhanbad. Yep.
I didn't know it was that big. Unfortunately, my host is the district governor-elect, and he'll be in San Diego.
Yeah. The year I went, it was the district governor-elect actually hosted us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So phenomenal experience. If you can find a way to go, I couldn't recommend it higher.
Hey, Brian.
Well, the advantage is the live virus versus the killed virus, right? And since we are seeing cases of polio that's being caused by the vaccine, it's a good transition. It's just harder to do for us. I mean, I could train all of us to give a shot in 5 minutes, but the question is, do you want to do it? You know, that's the hard part, right? It's easy.
The oops of a bad injection is not like the oops of 2 drops.
Exactly.
And I guess everybody saw type 2 and 3 of the wild polio virus have been declared eliminated. And now we just have type 1.
And there's just something magical about holding that baby and giving them the 2 magic drops. I can tell you from my own experience that having that mother look into my eyes, we couldn't say the same words to each other because we didn't speak the same language, but the look of that mother's face looking into my face was heartwarming and heart melting.
Right. We'll still have NIDs, but not there.
Indeed, but this is the one I know about.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other announcements for the good of Rotary?
And a 4-way test. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Other things we think, say, or do. Number 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial long term? And 5,
will it be fun?
Good.
See you all next week.
Everyone.
Good meeting, everybody.
Great meeting. Thank you all.